Hello viewers, in today's News Weekend Roundup, Arien Fahie charged with the murder of Corey Butler after being captured and deported from the USVI. 3 locals apprehended at sea following the discovery of drugs and cash on vessel. Jareena Penn is Miss BVI 2022. Residents to choose from 3 designs for the new West End ferry terminal. Police in Paradise video to be investigated by the National Security Council. Price gouging task force never established. However, a similar initiative is to start under the Trade Commission, says Premier. And the search continues for missing Walker and Williams. We'll be right back after a quick commercial break.
Yo, everything good, Dad?
Aye. This thing got me one way, Daddy.
What do you mean?
Ever since I hook up with this thing, I can't eat, I can't sleep. This is the first thing I touch it when I reach home.
What do you really? Hey, this ain't like you, know.
Dad, this thing got me staying home, keeping out of trouble me.
Wow. What your name is?
Shit. I talking about my CCT life.
Don't worry about missing your favorite series, sports, news, and local programming. Come to CCT today and sign up for CCT Live to access over 80 channels. CCT Live. Bring it home.
1 month free trial turn into 5. 5 months turn into, well, you know I hustle. I watching ball. I been watching football. Dad, Nickelodeon, Paw Patrol. I am hooked. Hook, I tell you.
Welcome everybody. It's Sunday, July 31st, 2022. I'm Ron Grant coming to you live and direct from Tortola in the Virgin Islands. A happy Sunday to one and all. Thank you so much for joining us. This is your weekly news roundup with the top stories of this past week. Wanted man Arien Fahie has been charged by the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force for the murder of Corey Butler after being captured in the United States Virgin Islands and deported back to the territory. Local police confirmed the arrest in a media release and after revealing that Fahie was officially charged on Saturday night. The 26-year-old was slapped with an additional charge of robbery in the same incident that left Butler wounded in Scatliff Alley area in the early evening hours of Tuesday, June 21st. Butler was pronounced dead shortly after his arrival at the Dr. D. Orlando Smith Hospital. Police Commissioner Mark Collins commended his officers for their persistence in ensuring that the assailants in this murder were captured and charged. He said, and I quote, "Those who perpetrate crime in the territory are not free because they have sailed beyond this jurisdiction. All efforts will be exhausted to find those responsible and bring justice in these cases." Arien Fahie will appear in the magistrate's court at the next available hearing. Fahie is the second person charged in the murder of Corey Butler, the first person being Akeem Durant. Durant appeared before the magistrate's court and was placed on remand. Corey Butler was laid to rest over the past weekend. 3 residents from the British Virgin Islands were this week arrested after the vessel they were traveling on was intercepted by law enforcement agencies where drugs and cash was discovered. This was confirmed by the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force, which said the arrest resulted from a United States-led operation earlier this weekend. According to the report, the interception occurred in close proximity to Norman Island. Now, the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force confirmed that as a result of the U.S.-led operation, a vessel was intercepted near Norman Island with a quantity of drugs and cash around 1 p.m. on that day. 3 male residents of the BVI were arrested and are now in custody, the police stated. More information will be forthcoming. On Sunday, July 24th, at an all-white sunset cruise coronation, Miss Jareena Penn was crowned the 68th Miss British Virgin Islands. The coronation was a fundraising event which saw performances by a slew of local bands. Take a look at the crowning moment.
The crowning of Miss BVI 2022 is done by none other than our Honorable Shari Di Castro and our Miss British Virgin Islands 2012. Ladies and gentlemen, we present to you Miss British Virgin Islands 2022, Jareena Penn.
Miss Jareena Penn was crowned by Minister of Education, Culture, Youth Affairs and Sports and Miss British Virgin Islands 2012, the Honorable Shari Di Castro, in the absence of Archibald. At the coronation, Penn officially addressed the public for the first time as Miss BVI. Take a look.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so happy that you could make it tonight for this momentous occasion with me. I would like to thank the BVI Festival Committee and the Miss British Virgin Islands Subcommittee. I would like to thank the Minister of Education, the Youth Affairs and Sports. I am so appreciative of this opportunity to hold this high level of ambassadorship. I would like to say thank you to my mom and my dad, just 2 weeks, and Auntie Penn, and definitely my chaperone, Miss Bianca Dugan, and definitely my friends and family. I love you guys, and thank you for always believing in me.
Residents utilizing remittance services have been given an ease by the Government of National Unity after Cabinet decided to cut the previously stipulated 7% tax by half. This was announced by the Premier and Minister of Finance, Dr. the Honorable Natalia Wheatley, at a recent press conference held earlier this week. He said that by reducing the tax down to 3.5%, he hopes that the incentive result is more transactions occurring.
The Government of National Unity also recognizes that a large segment of our population utilize remittance services. These do not just include those persons who have families living abroad that they have an obligation to support, but Virgin Islanders who have children in school in the United States, in the United Kingdom and elsewhere, who send them some dollars periodically to help them make ends meet. In a recent meeting of Cabinet, we agreed to lower the tax on remittances from the present 7% down to 3.5% to help our students and families abroad to cope. While we are collecting less revenue, this lower percentage may encourage a greater volume of transactions, and this is in line with what was recommended before this initiative was introduced.
The government of the Virgin Islands say they are in active discussions with the BVI Electricity Corporation and other relative stakeholders to decide what measures can be taken to ease the high electricity bills being faced by residents. Premier Dr. the Honorable Natalia D. Wheatley, who is also the minister responsible for electricity, made the disclosure in response to questions posed by the media recently. He said while discussions are being had on the subject to provide a sustainable solution to all parties, one certain reality is that residents will have to endure the fluctuating cost of fuel.
We're having discussions right now about what can specifically be done about electricity and seeking to lower the cost, but persons must understand that, you know, the cost is directly related to the high cost of diesel, of fuel, of petroleum, right? And of course, you know, the Electricity Corporation will have to pass that on to consumers, even if we collect nothing at all in terms of duty and things like that. The consumers will still feel the pinch because, you know, prices are high and we're importing it. So we are exploring what can be done within the very tight fiscal space that we have. We're not quite ready to make any announcements as yet.
In a recent House of Assembly sitting, Premier Dr. the Honorable Natalia Wheatley, upon the request of the opposition, provided some updates as to the process being taken to investigate the controversial Police in Paradise video. According to the Premier, in addition to a cabinet request for an investigation into the production and dissemination of the video, he has also communicated with the Governor to have the matter taken up by the National Security Council, for both with which him, the Governor, and the Police Commissioner are all members.
Cabinet has requested an investigation concerning the production and illegal dissemination of what is being referred to as a recruitment video. But this is a matter that will be addressed through the National Security Council. I have therefore communicated the request to His Excellency the Governor. This matter will be addressed through the National Security Council.
As we continue on with our news roundup, Residents of the Virgin Islands and across the territory will finally have the say on the final design that will be chosen for the new West End Ferry Terminal. Premier Dr. the Honorable Natalia Wheatley made the disclosure on Friday. He said his government decided to conduct a poll among residents on which design they prefer to be built in the West End community. Now, according to the Recovery and Development Agency, residents will have 3 options to choose from. Design A is labeled futuristic and organic and has at least 6 pros listed in the design. Design B is labeled classic modern and has 4 pros listed. The third option is a more traditional design, which is called West Indies, and just like the others, has many pros and cons. On the matter of the highly talked about price gouging in the territory, a special task force, or rather the special task force, which was announced back in March of 2022 by the former premier with the aim of tackling price gouging in the territory, was never established and will likely remain inactive. This was announced by Premier Dr. the Honorable Natalia D. Wheatley during a press conference after local media inquired about the initiative. He said his research found that the task force was never created, but said his present government was working on a similar initiative which will be spearheaded by the consumer unit of the Trade Commission once it becomes into effect.
Based on my investigations, the task force never really functioned. But that's why I mentioned in this statement that on an ongoing basis, we're going to bring together the Trade Commission. And the Trade Commission has set up a Consumer Affairs Unit. Of course, the Trade Commission has not been brought into effect yet, but once it's brought into effect, it's going to have a Consumer Affairs Unit, and that's really going to be the goal of the Consumer Affairs Unit. They'll work together with Central Statistics Office. They'll work together with Customs. They'll work together with the ports to ensure that we have a system in place to be able to not only monitor prices, but if we have specific initiatives like concessions and we want to ensure that prices are passed on to the consumer, we'll come up with a specific mechanism to making sure that takes place, which will include collecting information from these particular businesses, maybe agreeing on a particular markup on a specific basket of goods. And of course, we also want to have discussions with these businesses in terms of what we can do to help them provide better prices to the consumers, whether there's some adjustments we have to make to our policies on the port, whether we have to take a look at our cap system and what modifications need to be made to the cap systems for customs.
Police are continuing their inquiries into the 2 men whose families reported them missing since Sunday, 17th July, while the men Kevin Walker and Cleo Foster Williams Jr. are alleged to have boarded a vessel in the East End area on that Sunday. So far, detectives have no confirmation that the 2 left the territory, and they say no evidence of a missing boat. Neither Walker nor Williams is said to have owned a boat. The Royal Virgin Islands Police Force Intelligence Unit have notified counterparts in St. Martin and other Caribbean islands with photos of the missing men. General searches were carried out by the Marine Branch as well as the Virgin Islands Search and Rescue and are still ongoing within the territory's waters for any evidence that could help with the investigation. Head of the Criminal Investigations Unit, Gilbert Charles, noted that the public's cooperation is essential in advancing inquiries. Viewers, that's it for today's news roundup. Of course, be sure to follow us for your daily news updates at tweet4media.com and like us on Facebook at tweet4media and tweet4bvi on Instagram and Twitter. I'm Ron Grant. Thank you so much for joining us on this beautiful festival Sunday for your weekly news roundup. Do enjoy the rest of the day and have a beautiful rest of the very long weekend. We'll see you. Bye-bye.
You value traditions. Today, you value music. You value education, family. I love you. Service.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Love. Life. At Popular, we're committed to you and everything our community values. For the things you value the most, count on us. Popular.